Hey everybody, Charles here. In today's video, we're going to get you some completely unfiltered MBA admissions advice from one of our very, very favorite admissions consultants. And that is the thing we love to do in our MBA admissions content and our GMAT and GRE content as well. Give you the unfiltered truth, no BS, no silly internet rumors. Here's how to actually improve. We're going to say the quiet part out loud. Now, with all that in mind, if you could use one-on-one help with your applications, please hit us up at gmatninja.com, fill out the contact form there, also available in the video description, and we will send you the names of a bunch of our favorite admissions consultants at a bunch of different companies, not just ours. And the reason we love to do that, if you've put in the hard work to kick butt on the GMAT, on the GRE, and the executive assessment, we want to make sure you end up in the best possible hands. There are a lot of mediocre consultants out there, a lot of great ones. We want to make sure you end up with one of the great ones. So hit us up via that contact form, video description, or at gmatninja.com. That's it. Enjoy today's video. Hi everybody, Charles from GMAT Ninja here. Here today talking to Jennifer Jackson, Senior MBA Admissions Counselor at Stratus Admissions, Harvard MBA graduate, Northwestern Journalism graduate. She can write too. We're talking about MBA scholarships today. We hear all sorts of people kind of going into the application process going, I really want a scholarship. Whatever I do, I'm going to get a scholarship. And we're going to start with some really bad news. There's not that much scholarship money out there for MBAs. But we will talk about if you really want a scholarship, what should you do to optimize your chances? Jennifer, thank you so much for doing this with us.
I'm excited to be here. Thank you.
All right, so let's start with the bad news first. Just how common are MBA scholarships? How often do people actually get them?
These are not super common. So I don't have any numbers. Schools do not release numbers on anything like this. Nobody listening or watching should think that they are likely to get a scholarship, but there are strategies maybe to up your chances of it that we can talk about.
Awesome. So scholarships do exist. So schools are sitting on pots of money. They do give out scholarships, maybe not a ton of them. Can you say a little bit about what that scholarship money is for? So somebody on an admissions committee sitting there going, we can choose to give out some of this money. How are they thinking about it? How do they use it?
So admissions committees want to attract what they would call the ideal class each year. And they're doing everything they can to find the right mix of people. And so a lot of times that's going to be finding people who are from a certain demographic, perhaps certain professional background. There are all kinds of things that add to diversity, of course, right? But it is their way to fill a class with the ideal mix of students for everybody's learning, because they learn from their peers. And that it's a way to entice people to come to your school by offering that extra bit of money. It might be a little bit of money. It could be all the way up to a full scholarship. Not super common, definitely happens though.
Okay, so when you say that they're trying to entice you to come to their school, it sounds like kind of the suggestion here is that scholarship money is most likely to go to candidates who at least the admissions committee thinks is not necessarily likely to choose their school, that maybe it's their second or third or fourth choice potentially, that if you're school X, you're worried that Harvard is going to poach that candidate. Is that the right way to think about it?
Exactly. So they're going to be looking at your stats, your GPA. They're going to be looking at your test score. They're going to be looking at your work experience. And we don't see scholarships very often for people with low stats. So if your GPA is 2.6 and your test score is low, you're quite unlikely to be offered a scholarship. So you should look at your stats, and if your stats are above, let's say, the 80% range of what a school is reporting, that would at least make you more likely to be awarded, what we call a merit-based scholarship. So they're looking for people that might go somewhere else because they look like really strong candidates.
Okay, can you say a little bit more about, so typically, and I realize no stats are out there, there's no reporting on exactly what percentage of scholarship recipients come from what types of backgrounds. Can you say a little bit anecdotally about what sorts of candidates you see getting these scholarships? Obviously, stronger stats helps. Is there anything else? Do you see anything in the demography of it?
Yes, so women are much more likely to get these scholarships. Men can get them under a number of circumstances that we can talk about. Women are going to be more likely because schools are trying to get to that parity in their class. Some are close, some are maybe a little bit less close. So women for sure. And then it's much more likely if you're going to be an American citizen. So sorry for a lot of international folks, but much harder, not impossible, but much harder to get these merit scholarships. And then there are all kinds of different groups that they're trying to get more of to add to this diversity. So we could go into that if you want.
So maybe we should get into, so if you want a scholarship, maybe you're sitting here listening to this going, okay, wait a minute. Maybe I fit into some of these categories. Maybe I'm aware that I'm in an underrepresented group, female, still underrepresented in the MBA world, unfortunately. Maybe regardless of what group you might belong to or what your demographics are, and you're sitting here going, well, okay, there's some money out there. I understand that it's hard to get. I'd really like some of it. How do you optimize your chances? How should you think about that process? Let's say that you're walking in and saying, everybody wants to go to a top school, top 3, top 7, top 15, whatever it might be. And if you're thinking, yeah, but I really want some scholarship money, how should you think about going about this whole process?
Yeah, and we definitely have clients come to us saying, I really need some scholarship money. So it's a lot of things are going to be affected there. But the big answer is you're going to submit a really compelling application. Your essays are going to be fantastic. Your recommendations are on point. Let's say everyone's going to do that. Once you've done that, the way to maximize it, one of the main ways is to think about your school selection. So to the point we talked about before, it's not going to be by applying just to Harvard and Stanford and Wharton. So M7 schools do offer scholarship money. It's going to be a little bit less likely, right? But as you go a little bit farther down in the rankings, still top schools, top 15, top 20 schools are going to be more likely to offer you that money. So a lot of times people say, I'm applying to M7 only, but I want money. And then I would say, well, then you shouldn't apply to M7 only. You might have, maybe you have a round 1 and a round 2 strategy, or maybe you can do a whole bunch of applications and you've got your M7s, and then you've got perhaps some schools more in the top 10 to 15 list that's going to be much more likely to offer you that money.
And I guess, is there anything that so I think basically what you're saying is, obviously it helps if you're from the right demographics that are relatively scarce in the applicant pool. You need to write a fantastic application, make schools want you, have the sort of profile that's fantastic. That's the essence of it. Other than just writing a fantastic application and really choosing the right schools that are more likely to give you scholarship money, is there anything else you should do? How often are there separate processes to apply for scholarships? Is that a thing, or is it just you apply like normal, and if they want you, they'll give you money?
It is a thing for the right candidate. So there's something called Consortium, which some of you might have heard about. So Consortium is a way to apply to a number of schools through one application, a little bit like the Common App for undergrad, but it is meant for underrepresented minorities. And its mission is to increase the number of MBA students, but more broadly, increase the number of business leaders from these different populations. So if you're coming from one of those groups, you ought to look into applying through the consortium. And if you do that, you're going to have a couple of essays that just the consortium asks you about the work that you've done to promote inclusion in the workplace, or maybe through extracurriculars. And then you're also going to have to do the school's essays separately, but you'll be able to get a break on the application fees because you're applying through consortium. And if all of that works out and the school lets you in, they might offer you a fellowship through consortium. So it's called a consortium fellowship. That's no set amount of money, but each school is going to have X number of consortium fellowships that they offer, and maybe you'll get one. So it's worth trying. And then there's also a group called the Forte Foundation, which is for women only, trying to increase the number of women business leaders. There is no separate application for that. So you're just going to submit the best possible application you can, and you might get offered a Forte Fellowship. And the Forte Fellowships and the Consortium Fellowships offer you improved networking, more recruiting, more help with professional development, all kinds of contacts and access that you might not have otherwise.
Okay, so we've kind of focused a little bit on underrepresented minorities, women. Any other groups that you often see getting scholarship money, whether it's through a separate process or not?
I wouldn't say often, but what has happened is that schools have each school is going to have some number of specific industry or professional related scholarships that they offer. So I had a client a few years ago get into Kellogg, and she was interested in real estate, had been in real estate and wanted to go into a different aspect post MBA. And they offered her a scholarship, I think it was for $30,000 through whatever real estate scholarship at Kellogg. And each school's going to have this for probably, big sectors, healthcare, real estate. There's not usually a consulting scholarship, but they're typically going to be kind of industry oriented like that.
Excellent. And again, it sounds like nothing special you do for those. It's just those are things that
Correct.
schools are sitting on. And again, if they want to incentivize a particular applicant within a particular industry for which they have that pot of money. So if they have a real estate scholarship available, they might pick a couple of the candidates they really love, but nothing separate you need to do for those generally.
Exactly.
Perfect. Okay. One last quick question before we wrap up. If you're applying to part-time programs, online programs, executive MBA programs, do you see many scholarships getting offered for those, or is it pretty much limited to the full-time?
It's limited to the full-time. I will never say never, but it's not something that we've seen.
Perfect. All right, Jennifer, thank you so much for doing this with us. Everybody, thank you so much for watching, and good luck with your applications and scholarship applications.
Thanks a lot.
Hi, everybody. Me again. If you made it this far, odds are pretty good you're really serious about this whole MBA admissions thing. If that's the case, two quick things I want you to keep in mind. First of all, if you'd like the names of our very, very favorite admissions consultants at a number of different companies, not just our own, we've got a nice little contact form. You can fill out on our website, gmatninja.com, also available in the video description. Fill that out. We'll send you the names of a bunch of our favorite admissions consultants. No strings attached, nothing weird, not selling you anything, not going to sell your email, nothing. Just want to make sure you end up in the best possible hands. And second thing, if there's anything you'd like to see us address in these MBA admissions videos, please punch a comment in and we will do our best to film the stuff that you're interested in. And again, as always, if you like this, please hit that like button and please subscribe. Thanks so much. Have a great day.